friends, welcome back to my channel. Today I will share with you 10 best DIY fall signs that I've made. They're all so easy to make. They're budget friendly, mostly made out of Dollar Tree items. DIY number 1. I used this board that I already had from a previous project. It came originally from Target Dollar Spot, and I distressed it with just a little bit of white chalk paint. And then now I am using my chalk and I am creating a pumpkin shape. I found a picture online and I decided to recreate the pumpkin. Next, I'm using this homemade chalk paint that is a light green color. And I am going to start painting my pumpkin. And after that, I'm going to use this Waverly chalk paint in the color celery to do some shading on a pumpkin. If you want to see a full tutorial of each of these videos, I'm going to have them linked in my description box. You can go ahead and check out the original videos. This is going to be my last fall or Thanksgiving video for this season, so I wanted to make it a mega video. I wanted to show you my favorite DIY signs, so I hope you will enjoy it. But after this, starting Friday, I'm starting my Christmas videos. I'm very excited about that. I have so many great ideas, and I really hope you guys will join me and hope you will get inspired. Next, I'm taking the jute twine that came from the Dollar Tree. I'm hot gluing it down all around the pumpkin and also all around the creases of the pumpkin. You will see in just a minute what I am going to do. I actually wanted to accentuate the lines of the pumpkin and I wanted to make it look 3D, and I really like the way it turned out at the end. Now I took this sign that says autumn and I really like it, but it was way too small. It came in a package of 10, I believe, from Target Dollar Spot as well. So I used that as a guide to write my own word, first using a chalkboard, or actually chalk, and then using this marker to go over the letters. After that was dry, I just took my chalk again and went over the word, making it just look distressed and old. And that is it for this first project. I really love this sign. It was one of my favorite signs that I made. I think it's very unique, and I don't think I've seen anything like that out there, and I'm very happy the way it turned out. And it was very easy and inexpensive to make. DIY number 2. For this DIY, I used this Dollar Tree sign that I put this craft paper from Hobby Lobby, and I mud podged it on top, sanding the edges a little bit. And then now I decided to take this felt that actually came from Walmart. One side of this felt is shiny, it has a glitter on it, but I'm going to use the other side that is not shiny. And I am going to use actually 2 of them because they're pretty see-through. And I am now writing, or actually drawing, again, pumpkin, pieces of pumpkin. I'm going to show you in just a minute what I mean by that. After I cut it up, this is how it looks like. And I'm going to do the same thing with the second piece of felt. Now I have both pieces, and I'm using this craft glue that came from the Dollar Tree. This glue is good for fabric as well, and I am gluing both pieces of felt together. After that was done, I'm going to assemble my pumpkin, and I'm going to use a hot glue gun to glue it on my sign, or actually on my board. Next, I'm going to take the leftover felt and I'm going to cut out a stem shape. I'm going to hot glue 2 pieces together, and then I'm going to take Waverly chalk paint in color truffle and I will dab the paint on it to create that stem color. Next, I'm going to hot glue that on the top of the sign, so on the top of the pumpkin, and then I'm taking a little piece of jute twine and putting it in between the pumpkin and the stem, hot gluing it, and one side of the jute twine I am curling it and creating a tendril. On the other side I am putting leaves, and then I am putting a piece of jute twine on the bottom of it, wrapping it around 3 times and hot gluing it on the back. And that is it for this beautiful felt pumpkin sign. I absolutely love how this turned out, and again, it was very cost effective and very, very easy to make. DIY number 3. First, I'm going to take these 2 pieces of cardboard. I had a white one, but you can use any type you have. I'm going to hot glue them together just to make it more sturdier. After that, I'm taking the contact paper, and the one that I had was from Amazon and it's a wood grain, but you can use any one you have. I know Dollar Tree carry some as well. Now I'm gonna peel that off and stick it to my pre-cut cardboard rectangle piece, and then I'm gonna start cutting the corners and kind of wrap it around like a gift. So I wanted to make sure that every piece of this board was covered. Next thing would be to take this thankful sign that came from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to paint it with a white acrylic paint. This paint came from Arteza, and I'm gonna give it one thick coat all over, so the front side and in between the letters as well. I didn't care about the back because it's gonna be glued anyway. When everything was completely dried, I took a sandpaper and I went over, especially over the edges and in between the letters, because I wanted the edges to look distressed and old. Next thing, I am going to take the hot glue gun and I am going to hot glue this thankful sign onto my board. Next, I'm taking these Jenga blocks that came from the Dollar Tree and I'm going to put them around my board that I created to make a frame. As you can see in this package, some of them were natural color and some of them were dark brown. So I'm gonna have to paint the natural color ones with the brown acrylic paint. First, I cut out 2 little pieces, as you saw, to be able to fit in a frame. Now, after they were all dry, I went ahead and used chalk Waverly paint in a color mineral to dry brush all over all the blocks, just to distress them a little bit and make them look uniform as possible. And now I'm going to assemble my frame using a hot glue gun. You can see me over here how I'm doing it. And again, if you want to see full tutorial, you can go in the description box and find a link to the original video. Assembling the frame, I am just taking the brush that had leftover paint on it and I'm going over the thankful words because I wanted it to stand out a little bit. I wanted it to be a little more distressed. And after that, this project is completely done. Again, another very, very beautiful piece and very easy to make, very inexpensive. It turned out to be less than $2 because I had all the other supplies on hand. I hope you liked this one and maybe you will decide to recreate it. And now before we go on to the next project, if you're new to my channel, if you just stumbled upon my channel, welcome. I'm really happy you're here. I hope you liked this video, this compilation, and I hope you will take a look at my other videos as well. I do a lot of budget-friendly DIYs. I like to create beautiful things for my home on a budget. So if you like something like that, please stick around and subscribe to my channel. I would really, really like to have you. Also, if you're on a social media, don't forget to look for me. I am on Instagram, Pinterest, and Facebook. I like to get to know my viewers. DIY number 4. For this project, I am going to use this board that actually came from Dollar Spot and Target. It was $3, but I got it at dirt cheap for 30 cents. It is a wood piece, and I really like the distressing on it, but I did not need these letters. So I decided to start sanding them first with the sandpaper, and after I distressed them, or actually sand them a little bit, I took this Rust-Oleum chalk paint in a linen white color, and I went ahead and painted over the letters. But I made sure to do to paint a little bit, not all the way. I wanted it to be distressed, and after that I used some Waverly chalk paint in a color truffle, as well as this gray acrylic paint to go over, and I wanted it to look like the original wood, just without the letters. Now I'm taking this cardboard piece and I created this plaque, and I took this craft paper that came from Hobby Lobby. It is very beautiful pattern on it. So now I'm just cutting it out, and I'm trying to wrap it around this plaque using my hot glue gun. Next, I'm gonna take brown marker and a ruler, and I'm gonna create these lines just around the plaque. I wanted it to be like a frame type. Now first using my pencil and then using the same brown marker, I'm gonna create the wording, a season of thanks. And after I was done with that, I'm gonna go ahead and hot glue this plaque that I created on the top of my wood sign. Next, I'm gonna take these foxtails that came from the Dollar Tree, and I'm gonna cut off 2 larger ones and 2 smaller ones. I'm gonna hot glue them on the top of my sign. And I am going to take jute twines, 1 white and 1 natural color, and I will create a very, very simple bow that I'm going to attach, or actually hot glue on the top of the sign in between those foxtails. And I'm going to cut off the tails so it doesn't cover the wording on the sign. And then I'm going to take white jute twine and I'm going to wrap it a few times around each side, or actually edge of this sign. After that, this project is complete. I don't know, I always say I love my projects, but I really do. I try to create projects that I will use in my home and that I would love to see in my home. So this is one of those projects. I absolutely love it, and I think it turned out high-end, even though it cost me only $2 maybe. DIY number 5. For this DIY, I'm gonna use this craft paper that came from Dollar Tree, and then a skewer, and then 2 large beads. The first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut out the bottom of this craft paper, like you saw me doing over here, and then with the Waverly chalk paint in a color truffle, paint the beads. While they're drying, I'm gonna take this stencil that came from the Dollar Tree and this wide tip, or actually a brush tip marker, and then I'm going to start stenciling the words "choose gratitude." I thought this is such a perfect wording. It's not used as often, but I think it was perfect for this fall, for this year, and just for this Thanksgiving season. Next, I'm going to take the skewer and I will attach it with a hot glue gun on the top of my sign, wrapping this craft paper around it. And then I'm going to take this rope that came from Hobby Lobby and I will tie 2 knots on each side of this skewer. And the next thing, I will take the beads that I painted earlier and hot glue them on each side of the skewer as well. Next, I thought this sign needs something a little bit extra, so I took green and a brown marker, and I started creating a wine on the bottom of this sign. This is just me freehanding it. If you have stencils, you can certainly use them to create a wine. And then after this was done, I took white acrylic paint just to make a little bit of shading on those leaves, and that completes this project. This project was very probably the simplest one from all the ones that I'm showing over here, but I think is equally beautiful, and it really has a meaning, and I absolutely love it. DIY number 6. For this project, I'm taking leftover wood that I had in my garage. It came from Lowe's, so it was already distressed. I absolutely love it. I used it for framing my mirror. But if you're recreating this, you can use literally any wood you have, and you can paint it any way you want. Now I'm taking this gray burlap ribbon that came from Dollar General, I believe, and I'm fraying the edges, and then I'm gonna hot glue it on the second part of this sign, like on the bottom. And then I'm going to take these lettering from the Dollar Tree, the wooden letters, and I'm going to paint them with my homemade chalk paint. While they're drying, I'm going to go ahead and take these adhesive wooden pumpkins that came from Target Dollar Spot. I already painted one with that same paint as letters, and then I'm going to take these two Waverly chalk paints in a truffle and mineral, and I'm going to make little shadings on them just to make them more dimension and make them look more beautiful. Now I'm going to take a jute twine, wrap it around one side of this sign, and then I'm going to start hot gluing the letters and my pumpkins on the top of this burlap ribbon. After that, I'm going to go ahead and write the word I am on the top with my pencil, and then I'm going to go over with the marker. Next, I'm going to take, again, 2 colors of a jute twine, and I'm going to create a very simple bow that I always like to do, that I'm going to attach on the top right corner of this sign using a hot glue gun again. I'm cutting off the tail of this bow so it can fit nicely, and I am deciding just to take a little bit of that same paint to distress those words on top to blend better in this sign. And that's it for this project. Another beautiful, beautiful, and very easy to make and to recreate project that cost me, again, I don't think it cost me more than $1. So this just shows you that you can make beautiful projects for very little budget. For all of you new or old viewers, I want to mention that I'm going to have new videos coming out Tuesdays and Fridays at 5 p.m. Central Standard Time. Unless there is a collaboration or challenge going on, I'm going to let you know in advance in my community page. DIY number 7. For this project, I am taking the large frame from the Dollar Tree that I used for my previous project, so I'm going to reuse it now. I saved the glass. I'm going to use these paints, so 2 shades of green, a mineral, and a Waverly chalk paint in a color truffle to distress this frame even further. The point was to make it look like an old window. Now I'm hot gluing the glass on the top of it, and next I'm going to use this peel and stick vinyl that came from Target Dollar Spot for $3. There's 2 different kind of stencils on it, or actually vinyls on it, but I'm going to use the orange one. I'm using my Cricut transfer tape to help me transfer it onto my glass. And then using all my tools from Cricut as well, I am transferring it on a kind of a bottom part of this glass. After I was done with that, I took the ribbon, burlap ribbon that came from the Dollar Tree, and I am going to cut out 4 little rectangles, or actually 4 little pieces, and I am going to create a mini banner that's going to go on the top of this window, let's say. So you see me over here cutting out a little slits on the bottom, and I'm going to create 4 of those. And then I will take jute twine that came again from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to hot glue all 4 of them on the top of that jute twine. When I was done with that, I am going to hot glue the ends of this banner to the corners of my window. I'm using my finger protectors. It is very important because hot glue gun can be very, very hot. I burned myself several times. Next, I'm taking the jute twines in 2 different colors to create 2 mini bows that both are going to go in each corner on the top of this window. I'm hot gluing them, and that's it for this project. This project was very, very simple to make, and I think it turned out so, so beautiful. Again, I think it turned out very high end, but it cost me almost nothing to make. DIY number 8. For this project, I'm taking the frame that was left over from the canvas from the Dollar Tree and these large craft sticks that came from Walmart. I'm going to assemble 9 of them on the top of the frame, and I'm going to hot glue all of them. That way I will extend kind of a size of this frame, and I think it just looks beautiful. After that, I'm attaching 1 extra on the back of it just for support. Next, I'm taking this folk art wood tint in a color gray, and I am going to stain these craft sticks. So what you do is just you apply it and wait maybe 10 seconds and then wipe it off with a rag or paper towel, and look how beautiful it looks. Then I'm taking this free printable that I actually will have down in the description box for you to grab if you want. And then this chalk marker that came from Dollar Tree, and I'm going to just go over the edges, creating a mini frame. And then I'm taking this magnetic clip that came from the Dollar Tree, attaching it on the top of my sign. And then I'm taking a few lamb ears to put on the top right above the clip, and this raffia bow that I already had pre-made, cutting off the tails, and that's it for this very, very simple project. But I think it's beautiful because you can change out the printables, you can put any picture that you have or anything that you want to attach on that clip. You can put any messages from your loved ones, anything that you would like, or change it up depending on the season. Next 2 DIYs will be the older ones, probably a year old. So the first one is DIY number 9, and as you can see me over here, I took a piece of cloth. On the top, you see me just sewing the edges, and on the bottom, you see me creating kind of a stencil from a cardboard with the letter K. That's the first letter of our last name, and I'm using this silver and dark gray paint, and I am stenciling it on with a brush. I'm going over with the silver, and then I'm taking these artificial leaves from Dollar General, hot gluing them on the top, and I'm making them kind of falling leaves. And that's it. I actually created a mini welcome flag for our home. Super simple, but so beautiful. Next, DIY number 10, and the last DIY is this pumpkin sign that came from Target Dollar Spot. I freehanded the word welcome on it, and then I went over with the Sharpie, accentuating just a little certain sides of the letter. And then next I'm taking this raffia bow, or actually now raffia, and wrapping it a few times around the stem and creating a bow. I used the hot glue to attach it, and I also used a few of those artificial leaves to put them on a top. Next, I'm taking this pumpkin. It came from Dollar General. It was $1, but I'm going to only use the flower and that little, whatever this is, little greenery thing. And I'm going to attach them on the bottom. And I decided to attach one more leaf on the top next to the raffia bow. And this is going to actually be a door hanging. I really, really love this one. I think it was so easy to make, and I love how it turned out. I hope you enjoyed these 10 DIYs. Tell me which one was your favorite. I want to thank you for watching, and thank you for being here. I'll see you in my next video. Bye, guys.